your wife is someone who holds on to things and brings up the past, or your husband is someone who brings up the past, I would imagine that you guys haven't done a good job of repairing with each other. We've created a space, or I am continuing to create a space where I can feel things and it be okay, and he can feel things and it be okay. You are going to have challenging times and disagreements, but welcome, my name is Jessica Lewis. I'm the founder of Rise Up Queens, where I help women step into the freedom that Christ died for. Here on this channel, you will find many topics on physical intimacy, porn and working through that in your marriage, communication, triggers, and so much more. I hope you dive in with me and subscribe and create the best marriage you possibly can with your spouse right now. Today, we're diving into how to repair in marriage. I've worked with thousands of couples, and so many of them are destined for divorce because of their bitterness, their unforgiveness, and their inability to repair. Things happen and rifts happen, and they continue to affect the marriage 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 30 years down the road. And I do not want you to be that couple. I want to set up a very simple environment where you can thrive. Rifts are going to happen. You are going to have challenging times and disagreements. But if you know how to repair, that is where the power is going to be in your marriage. So for repair, recently, Skyler had changed around his schedule, and he told me he was going to be home one of the nights of the week because that night he was typically gone. So I was going to gain as a wife a night back with Skyler home helping with the kids. We have a super busy schedule, so this night really mattered to me. It meant a lot. So we talked about it in the morning, and I confirmed, okay, so you're going to be home about this time. And so that time rolls around, and I'm out playing pickleball with Jeremiah, our youngest son. And we were thinking about leaving, but we were like, hey, it'd be so fun if dad came with us. So, 15 minutes go by after the time we had talked about, and I text him, no text back. And so, another 15, 20 minutes goes on, and we're going to leave, but if he comes, we'll stay. And I call him, no answer, no call, no text, no nothing. Jeremiah and I get home, we continue on with life, right? I think, all right, cool, whatever the case may be. Skyler walks in the door. And very kindly, I'm working on my words, right? So I'm trying to say what's going on and express my feelings and not blame him or anything. But hey, did you notice that you were home at a different time than what you said you were going to? We had called, we had texted. And he's like, oh yeah, I had a meeting. The typical response that men say, yeah, no big deal. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I got busy with stuff, and yeah, I'm here now. So can we move on? Essentially, he's like, I'm sorry. I was like, are you really sorry? He's like, well, no, but can you just forgive me? I'm like, well, I mean, I can definitely forgive you. I've already forgiven you, but why even say sorry if you're not sorry? Do you think you even did anything wrong? He's like, well, no, not really. I was like, babe, but you gave me your word. You told me you were going to be here. We agreed upon it, and you kind of broke it. Not kind of, you broke it. And you didn't call me, text me, nothing in advance. And so we get into a little bit, and the feelings that come up for me are disappointment, right? And kind of loss. And I used to shove down my feelings. I was numb to them. And so in this moment, I am practicing just letting myself be disappointed. Man, it sucks. I want to be able to rely on you when you say you're going to do something. When you say you're going to be somewhere, I want to just know that, yes, because my husband said so, it's happening. So I am a little bit disappointed. And some time continues to go on, maybe 30 minutes or so. And I'm still feeling the feels, making him dinner, loving on him, connecting with him, but not, hey, babe, So he's like, hey, can we just get over this? I'm like 100%, we can get over it. And I just need to feel this. See, the old codependent version of us, when I wasn't okay, Skyler wasn't okay. When Skyler wasn't okay, I wasn't okay. And what we've done is we've created a space, or I am continuing to create a space where I can feel things and it be okay. And he can feel things and it be okay. And so in that scenario, what would have been beautiful and what Skyler actually did later was this exact repair process that I'm going to walk you through. So first, in the repair process, you can share and reflect about the experience and what you did. So if this was Skyler coming back to me, he would have said, hey, babe, I noticed that I didn't keep my word. I said I was going to be home and I didn't come home when I said I was going to. And that disappointed you. I feel that. And then I started to already, but he can acknowledge the other person's experience. So that disappointed you, that made you upset. You really wanted me to be there, and you really want to rely on my word. And if he were doing well at that, he might want to check in and say, is that right? So when you use the words, is that right? Your wife or your husband will feel seen and heard in that moment. They'll feel understood. They'll feel validated. So oftentimes in arguments, we don't allow the other person to feel validated. We try and make them wrong because we want to prove our point to be right. And so after he shared my experience, if he said, hey, did I get that right? Was there anything else? And if he allowed me to express anything else that was going on, there would be even a deeper level of validation, care, and love. Just right there, I could have stopped at the repair. But we keep going because he then went on to share what he was going to do different next time. So, hey, next time when that happens, would it work if I called you? Would it work if I text you? Would it work if I communicated? Or I'll set up a flexible time coming home, coming back. Either way. And so this part could be left out, but it's super important because you have pathways and patterns in your brain. You have ways of being. And so if you're going to create a new neural pathway in your brain of how you're going to respond in this scenario next time, it helps for you to create the pathway by talking about it beforehand. So you can figure out what works with your spouse. And then lastly, ask for a redo. So create a new way. And so what that would look like for us would be Skyler to say, hey, I'm sorry I'm late. I totally missed it. Next time, this is what I'm going to do. What can I do for you now? Right? So what would a redo look like? And that's the stitching in of the repair. It feels like in that scenario, there might have been an opened wound, or wound sounds like a strong word, but there was an opening, there was a rip, there was a disappointment. And if we didn't go back to address it, I could hold on to that on my little tool belt and say, okay, yep, he's not trustworthy. I'm going to gather evidence that he's not trustworthy. But when he creates a space for me to feel seen and heard and validated, I can let that go and I don't have to hold on to it. So if your wife is someone who holds on to things and brings up the past, or your husband is someone who brings up the past, I would imagine that you guys haven't done a good job of repairing with each other and allowing each other to move through the emotions that come up in scenarios as couples and then get to the other side. See, as I work with couples, what they want to do is they want to stay in the logic and not feel any of the feelings, right? Skyler didn't want to feel my disappointment or be with me in my disappointment because that just doesn't feel good, right? However, if he doesn't do that, those feelings will get stuck here and I will get stuck, and then they'll start to fester and then they'll blow up. And so what if you're like, okay, wait, yes, we can do this moving forward, but I know there's a lot of stuff that we haven't worked through, we haven't repaired. What if on the next date night you guys went on together, you made a list of all the stuff that you had resentment on, all the baggage that you're carrying. And I know some of you might have some big lists. Maybe you need to come to a Rise Up Kings or a Rise Up Queens event and we can work through those together with you so you don't have to do that alone. But maybe you begin to chip away at that list and begin to repair those old things so that you don't have baggage, resentment, bitterness, or anything coming in the way of your marriage, because it takes energy to stay mad at someone. I know there are times where you want to forget about that, but you've got to stay angry, right? Or you're just avoiding it and it's underneath and you don't understand why you feel disconnected. So I hope that this process is simple, easy, and that you'll begin to do it. If you're committed to stepping up your repair game with your spouse, definitely comment below. Let me know what stood out. And if you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe.